Interview skills? There are some easy steps that you can take that will increase your chances of success at interviews. First, remember that job interviews should be a process of two-way communication. Not only are they a tool for employers to use to evaluate you, but they are also an opportunity for you to assess the job, the organization, and to see if there is a fit. The keys to a successful interview are preparation and practice. The following suggestions will help you prepare for an interview. Self-evaluation. It is important for you to think about yourself and your past experiences in order to be ready to articulate what you have to offer an employer. Consider the following topics: how your present and past experience relate to the position, your current and future career goals, what skills and expertise you have to offer, the skills that you would like to develop or improve, location, salary, and lifestyle priorities, kinds of people and environments you prefer, past experiences you want to highlight such as volunteer, work, hobbies, travel. Before the interview, research the company. A company's website is an excellent place to begin. It usually gives you information on whether it is international or domestic, what its revenues are, how many locations it has, and the nature of its major products. Most companies are very proud of their websites. Don't be surprised if one of the first questions interviewers ask when you arrive is, have had a chance to look at our website? Practice interviews. Write down a list of possible questions that you think may be asked, then have a friend act as an interviewer and direct them to you in a practice interview situation. Don't stop until you feel comfortable answering each question. Practicing beforehand will make you feel more comfortable and relaxed during the interview. Dress professionally. In today's environment, wearing a suit isn't always necessary. Contact the HR manager of the company or your recruiter and find out what the dress code is for the company at which you are going to interview. Then dress one level above. For instance, if it is business casual, men can wear dress pants, dress shirt, and sport coat. Women can wear a pantsuit, dress, or a skirt and blouse. Visual impressions are very important. Therefore, if in doubt, always dress on the conservative side. Arrival. Try to arrive at the interview location a little early. This gives you time to determine where you need to go and will give you a few minutes to collect your thoughts. Do not arrive late. Nothing destroys your chance at impressing an employer more than arriving late and offering no explanation. If you learn at the last minute that you are going to be arriving late at the interview, call and let the interviewer know. Interviewers understand that things can come up suddenly. You are never considered late if you call and make them aware of the fact during the interview. First impressions. First impressions take only 30 seconds. Establishing rapport, direct and sustained eye contact, a firm handshake, a warm smile, good posture, and introducing yourself in a confident manner are important ingredients. A well-groomed professional appearance is critical. Greet the interviewer with a firm handshake, whether it is a woman or a man. No one likes a weak handshake. Always maintain eye contact while shaking hands. Smile. A smile denotes confidence in a candidate. Try to smile often. Also, don't be afraid to use some hand animation while answering questions. This suggests enthusiasm in a candidate. Body language, use good posture, and look the interviewer right in the eye. Sit up straight. Never slouch. Speak clearly. Don't mumble. It portrays a lack of confidence. Speak with assurance. This indicates confidence. Listen before answering. Allow the employer to begin the interview, but be prepared with some opening statements or questions such as, I understand that this position involves, or what are you looking for in a job candidate? Make sure you understand the question. If not, ask the interviewer to clarify it. Don't be afraid to take some time to think before answering. Interviewers are impressed with someone who thinks out an answer before speaking. Give brief answers. Make your answer concise and to the point. Rambling tends to suggest that you really don't have the answer to the questions asked. Previous employers. Never, ever say anything negative about your present or previous employers, no matter how much you may have disliked someone. Find a way to give your experiences a positive spin. Be truthful. Don't lie when asked about something you haven't done. The next question will be, tell us about it. Know your resume. Be prepared to talk about every fact that is on your resume. Many people embellish their accomplishments on their resumes. Avoid this, since the only point of reference an interviewer has about you is the resume you provide to him, her beforehand. Keep things at a professional level. Sometimes near the end of an interview, the two parties start feeling comfortable with each other. Don't let this comfortable feeling lead you to telling them something about yourself that they really shouldn't know. Always keep things at a professional level. Look for something in common. This is something that has given us an edge in the past. Try to find a common bond between yourself and your interviewer. If you are being interviewed in an office, look at how the office is decorated. Look for something you can identify with. Is her college diploma hanging on the wall? Did you attend a nearby school or perhaps one in the same division? If so, make a quick comment about it. Did you attend Penn State? I attended the University of Michigan. What a great football conference. Interviewers sometimes feel more comfortable with people with whom they have something in common. This approach has helped several candidates obtain a position over other qualified candidates. Above all, be sincere. After the interview, back in touch. Ask the interviewer when she expects to get back to you on his decision. Get everyone's business card. Before you leave, be sure to get the business cards of all of the people with whom you visited. If you cannot do that, ask a secretary for their names and email addresses. Thank the interviewer. Verbally thank the interviewer for taking the time to interview you before leaving. Within a day, send thank you letters to all of the interviewers with whom you spoke. This does not need to consist of a written letter sent via snail mail. Emailed thank you works just as well. Do not give up. Sometimes, within 10 minutes of the start of an interview, you will know that the job is not one you want to pursue. If you begin to feel this way, don't give up on the interview. Continue to interview as if the job was the most important thing in the world. This provides you with practice for your next interview, which may be for your dream job. Not all interviews will lead to offers of employment, but if you approach every interview as if it's the most important interview you ever had, you will come out a winner. Additional tips. Focus on presenting a positive, enthusiastic tone. If you are asked to describe a weakness, mention lessons learned and steer away from negative descriptions. Think about 3 or 4 key points that you all want to make about your personal characteristics, skills you have learned, and relevant experiences that demonstrate that you could perform the job well. Find specific, rather than general, examples from your experience that illustrate important points about yourself. When answering questions, focus on experiences that demonstrate flexibility, adaptability, responsibility, progress, achievement, creativity, initiative, and leadership. If the employer signals the end of the interview and asks you for questions, and you haven't discussed some key points, say, there are a couple of points I would like to mention. After the interview, write a brief thank you letter. Express your appreciation for the opportunity to interview, and learn about the organization, confirm your interest, and emphasize how your background and skills might be of interest to the organization. Some interview questions. You can expect to be asked some of the following types of questions in an interview case. Questions are often used by consulting companies to assess analytical and problem-solving skills. The interviewer presents a situation and asks you to discuss possible solutions. A sample case question is, describe a managed care company that you think is successful and explain why. What do they do that works? What are their potential problems? What is your outlook for their future? What suggestions do you have for their future? Behavioral or situational? Questions are used to assess how you would behave in different circumstances and to predict your behavior in future, similar situations. An interviewer may ask, tell me about a time when a team you were working on was unable to proceed due to some interpersonal conflict. How did you respond, and what role did you play on the team? Role play questions entail the interviewer asking you to put yourself in another role and decide how you would handle a specific problem. Industry. Specific questions are questions regarding the latest trends or issues in the industry. An interviewer may ask, if you were a CEO of Microsoft's main competitor, what actions would you take in the online services market? Brain teasers are quick questions where the obvious answer is not. General questions. Tell me about yourself. What are your key experiences and accomplishments? How would you rank your achievements? What are your strengths and weaknesses? How would your friends describe you? Explain your reason for leaving your current job. What are the most important things to you in a job? What do you value in a supervisor? How would you describe your management style? What appeals to you about this job and organization? Describe the ideal position in our company. What qualities do you think make someone successful in our industry? What would you like me to know most that is not on your resume? Explain your understanding of the issues and trends in your specialty and in the overall industry. Why are you qualified for this position? Give an example of a situation where you demonstrated leadership. Give an example of how you worked on a team. What questions do you have about the organization? Questions for the interviewer are queries that usually focus on the culture or mission of the organization and job responsibilities. This is not the time to bring up questions about salary, benefits, and vacation, about which you can inquire after you have been offered the job. The phone interview. Due to a company's geographic location, travel costs, and divergent schedules, a phone interview may often be your initial contact with a prospective employer. Therefore, we're offering some phone interview tips. Objective. The idea behind a phone interview is to gain an invitation for a personal interview and to gather more information for future steps in the process. Preparation. Have a pad, pen, and a copy of your resume near the phone. Use a phone in a quiet area. Avoid any background noise. Also, avoid using a cordless phone because they tend to transmit poorly. Speaking, smile, and be enthusiastic. Your enthusiasm will carry through to the interviewer. Speak in a conversational manner and be sure to speak loudly enough to be heard. Speak with some inflection and tone. Let the interviewer do most of the talking. When she asks you a question, expound upon the answer. Use the opportunity to sell your skills and experience. When the interview is over, let him know that you are very interested in scheduling personal interview at his place of business. In the dynamic realm of personnel selection, job interviews stand as pivotal moments that can determine the trajectory of one's career. The process is a delicate dance between employers seeking the ideal candidate and individuals aiming to showcase their skills and suitability for the role. This article delves into the intricacies of a recruitment interview, shedding light on the various elements that define the landscape of personnel selection, the pre-interview phase. Before the interview takes place, both employers and candidates engage in preparatory activities. Employers meticulously review resumes and applications, identifying key qualifications and experiences. Simultaneously, candidates research the company, familiarizing themselves with its values, mission, and work culture. This phase sets the stage for a mutual understanding of expectations. The interview setting. The interview setting plays a crucial role in establishing the tone of the interaction. Whether conducted in person or virtually, the environment should facilitate open communication. Employers strive to create an atmosphere where candidates feel comfortable expressing themselves, while candidates to convey professionalism and confidence. Types of interviews. Recruitment interviews come in various formats, each serving a distinct purpose. Structured interviews follow a predetermined set of questions, ensuring consistency across candidates. Unstructured interviews allow for more spontaneous conversations, providing insights into a candidate's personality. Behavioral interviews focus on past experiences, while situational interviews assess problem-solving abilities in hypothetical scenarios. assessing skills and competencies, one of the primary objectives of a recruitment interview is to evaluate a candidate's skills and competencies. Employers seek to understand how well a candidate's qualifications align with the requirements of the position. Candidates, in turn, showcase their expertise through thoughtful responses and real-world examples. Cultural fit and soft skills. Beyond technical qualifications, cultural fit and soft skills are integral components of personnel selection. Employers assess whether candidates align with the company's values and can seamlessly integrate into the existing team. Effective communication, adaptability, and teamwork often weigh heavily in the decision-making process. Overcoming challenges. Challenges during interviews can arise from various sources, such as nervousness, unexpected questions, or technical difficulties in virtual settings. Both employers and candidates need to navigate these challenges adeptly. Employers should create an environment that eases candidate nerves, while candidates must demonstrate resilience and adaptability. Post-interview reflection. After the interview concludes, both parties engage in post-interview JOTS reflection. Employers evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of each candidate, considering how well they align with the company's needs. Simultaneously, candidates reflect on their performance, identifying areas for improvement and contemplating their compatibility with the organization. Conclusion. The recruitment interview is a multifaceted process, intricately weaving together the goals of employers and candidates. Successful personnel selection hinges on effective communication, thoughtful evaluation, and a mutual understanding of the shared journey ahead. As the dynamics of the job market evolve, so too must the strategies employed in recruitment interviews, ensuring a harmonious match between talented individuals and organizations poised for success. An interview is a structured conversation where one participant asks questions and the other provides answers in common parlance. The word interview refers to a one-on-one conversation between an interviewer and an interviewee. The interviewer asks questions to which the interviewee responds, usually providing information. That information may be used or provided to other audiences immediately or later. This feature is common to many types of interviews. A job interview or interview with a witness to an event may have no other audience present at the time, but the answers will be later provided to others in the employment or investigative process. An interview may also transfer information in both directions. Interviews usually take place face-to-face, in person, but the parties may instead be separated geographically. As in video conversation or telephone interviews, almost always involve spoken conversation between two or more parties. In some instances, a conversation can happen between two persons who type their questions and answers. Interviews can be unstructured, freewheeling, and open-ended conversations without predetermined plan or prearranged questions. One form of unstructured interview is a focused interview in which the interviewer consciously and consistently guides the conversation so that the interviewee's responses do not stray from the main research topic or idea. Interviews can also be highly structured, conversations in which specific questions occur in a specified order. They can follow diverse formats. For example, in a ladder interview, a respondent's answers typically guide subsequent interviews, with the object being to explore a respondent's subconscious motives. Typically, the interviewer has some way of recording the information that is gleaned from the interviewee, often by keeping notes with a pencil and paper, or with a video or audio recorder. The traditionally two-person interview format, sometimes called a one-on-one interview, permits direct questions and follow-ups, which enables an interviewer to better gauge the accuracy and relevance of responses. It is a flexible arrangement in the sense that subsequent questions can be tailored to clarify earlier answers. Further, it eliminates possible distortion due to other parties being present. Interviews can happen in a wide variety of contexts. Employment. Job interview is a formal consultation for evaluating the qualifications of the interviewee for a specific position. One type of job interview is a case interview in which the applicant is presented with a question or task or challenge and asked to resolve the situation. Candidates may be treated to a mock interview as a training exercise to prepare the respondent to handle questions in the subsequent real interview. A series of interviews may be arranged, with the first interview sometimes being a short screening interview, followed by more in-depth interviews, usually by company personnel who can ultimately hire the applicant. Technology has enabled new possibilities for interviewing. For example, video telephony has enabled interviewing applicants from afar, which is becoming increasingly popular. Psychologists use a variety of interviewing methods and techniques to try to understand and help their patients. In a psychiatric interview, a psychiatrist or psychologist or nurse asks a battery of questions to complete what is called a psychiatric assessment. Sometimes two people are interviewed by an interviewer, with one format being called couple interviews. Criminologists and detectives sometimes use cognitive interviews on eyewitnesses and victims to try to ascertain what can be recalled specifically from a crime scene, hopefully before the specific memories begin to fade in the mind. Marketing and academic. In marketing research and academic research, interviews are used in a wide variety of ways as a method to do extensive personality tests. Interviews are the most used form of data collection in qualitative research. Interviews are used in marketing research as a tool that a firm may utilize to gain an understanding of how consumers think, or as a tool in the form of cognitive interviewing, or cognitive pretesting, for improving questionnaire design. Consumer research firms sometimes use computer-assisted telephone interviewing to randomly dial phone numbers to conduct highly structured telephone interviews, with scripted questions and responses entered directly into the computer. Journalism and other media. Typically, reporters covering a story in journalism conduct interviews over the phone and in person to gain information for subsequent publication. Reporters also interview government officials and political candidates for broadcast. In a talk show, a radio or television host interviews one or more people, with the topic usually chosen by the host, sometimes for the purposes of entertainment, sometimes for informational purposes. Such interviews are often recorded. Other situations, sometimes college representatives or alumni conduct college interviews with prospective students as a way of assessing a student's suitability while offering the student a chance to learn more about a college. Some services specialize in coaching people for interviews. Embassy officials may conduct interviews with applicants for student visas before approving their visa applications. Interviewing in legal contexts is often called interrogation. Debriefing is another kind of interview. The relationship between the interviewer, I, and interviewee in research settings can have both positive and negative consequences. Their relationship can bring deeper understanding of the information being collected. However, this creates a risk that the interviewer will be unable to be unbiased in their collection and interpretation of information. Bias can be created from the interviewer's perception of the interviewee, or from the interviewee's perception of the interviewer. Additionally, a researcher can bring biases to the table based on the researcher's mental state, their preparedness for conducting the research, and the researcher conducting inappropriate interviews. Interviewers can use various practices known in qualitative research to mitigate interviewer bias. These practices include subjectivity, objectivity, and reflexivity. Each of these practices allows the interviewer or researcher the opportunity to use their bias to enhance their work by gaining a deeper understanding of the problem they are studying.